The journey of Jaakson McKoy, the Daydreamer's path. Jaakson McKoy had always been the odd one out among the McKoy brothers. At 12 years old, he was cheerful but unfocused, known for getting lost in his own world. While his brothers fought to uphold their father's Shinryu karate legacy with intensity and determination, Jaakson daydreamed through lessons, barely remembering the moves or the meaning behind them. His family often joked that he was dumber than the day is long, but Jaakson never seemed bothered by it. He lived in his own head, a place filled with imagination, curiosity, and a whimsical sense of adventure. This is the story of Jaakson, a boy who may have been distracted, but whose path would lead him to a different kind of discovery. Episode 1. The Drifting Student. Jaakson had always struggled in the dojo. His mind wandered during katas, and he'd often forget entire sequences of moves mid-practice. His brothers, especially Robert, would scold him for not paying attention, but no matter how hard they pushed him, Jaakson's thoughts would always drift somewhere else, usually to faraway places filled with dragons, pirates, and ninjas straight out of his favorite comic books. One afternoon during a particularly tough training session, Jaakson zoned out once again. He imagined himself not as a karate student, but as a wandering hero on a grand adventure. In his mind, he was fighting against powerful enemies, using secret techniques and incredible agility. He was fast, strong, and clever, everything he wasn't in real life. His father, Michael McKoy Sr., caught him staring off into space and sighed, "Jaakson, where are you?" Jaakson snapped back to reality, sheepishly shrugging. "Sorry, Dad," he muttered. It wasn't that he didn't want to learn, it was just that the real world wasn't as exciting as the one in his head. Episode 2. The Unexpected Journey. One day, after yet another frustrating training session where Jaakson couldn't seem to get anything right, he wandered off into the nearby woods. He often went there to escape the pressure of the dojo and get lost in his thoughts. But this time, something different happened. While exploring a hidden trail he hadn't noticed before, Jaakson stumbled upon an old, overgrown cabin. Curiosity got the better of him, and he ventured inside. The interior was dusty and filled with ancient scrolls and relics. As Jaakson looked around, he noticed a small, weathered statue of a dragon sitting in the center of the room. Suddenly, an old man appeared in the doorway. Startled, Jaakson froze, expecting to get in trouble for trespassing. But instead, the man smiled warmly. "You seem lost, boy," the man said, his voice gentle but wise. Jaakson explained that he wasn't exactly lost, just wandering, as he often did. The old man introduced himself as Sensei Takashi, a retired martial artist who had once trained in the mountains of Japan. He had left the fast-paced world behind to live in peace, studying the deeper, spiritual aspects of martial arts that most students never explored. "You have a wandering spirit," Takashi said, "but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes, the greatest lessons are found when you let your mind drift. Come, I'll teach you something different." Episode 3. Lessons in Stillness. For the next few weeks, Jaakson returned to Sensei Takashi's cabin, curious about what the old man had to offer. Takashi didn't teach Jaakson traditional karate moves or katas. Instead, he introduced him to the concept of mushin, or no mind, a state of being fully present, where action flowed naturally without conscious thought. It was a way of tuning into the moment, letting go of distractions, and allowing instinct to guide you. At first, Jaakson struggled to understand. His mind had always been full of distractions and daydreams. How could he possibly quiet it? But Takashi was patient. He didn't push Jaakson the way his brothers did. Instead, he taught him through quiet observation and subtle guidance. One day, as Jaakson sat in silence under the shade of a large oak tree near the cabin, something clicked. For the first time, his mind wasn't racing with fantasies or worries. He felt calm, present. In that moment of stillness, Jaakson realized that he didn't need to force himself to be like his brothers. He didn't need to fight with anger or intensity. His strength lay in his ability to be open, to let go of expectations, and just be in the moment. Episode 4. The Way of the Dragon. Sensei Takashi continued to teach Jaakson not just about physical techniques, but about the philosophy behind martial arts. He spoke of the importance of balance, both in life and in combat. He taught Jaakson how to feel the energy around him, to sense his surroundings without overthinking. One afternoon, Takashi led Jaakson to a small pond near the cabin. "Watch the water," Takashi said. Jaakson stared at the calm surface. "It looks still, but it's always moving," Takashi explained. "That's how you should be, calm on the surface, but always ready to move when the time comes." Jaakson practiced the lessons he learned in the cabin, slowly integrating them into his martial arts. At the dojo, he stopped worrying about remembering every move perfectly or trying to impress his brothers. Instead, he let his body flow naturally, responding to